So Abby, now tell the jury, what did you see right before you were shot that day on January 6, 2023?
The moment went by very fast. I remember Dr. Watson touched on it briefly earlier. The look on the student's face is a large memory that I have. I do remember it was like a very blank look, but it wasn't a blank look at all on his face.
And is that why you lifted your hand? Did you know what was about to happen?
Yes. Yep.
And what is the last thing you remember that day at the school?
The last thing I remember at the school. Obvious, I thought I was dying. I thought I had died. I thought I was either on my way to heaven or in heaven, but then it all got black, and so I then thought I wasn't going there. And then my next memory is I see two coworkers around me, and I process that I'm hurt, and they're putting pressure on where I'm hurt.
A first grade teacher who was shot in her classroom by a 6-year-old student is on the stand right now on Newport News. The teacher, Abby Zwerner, brought a $40 million lawsuit against the school's assistant principal, who she says failed to act after reports the student brought a gun to school in 2023. Let's go live now to CNN's Jean Casarez, who has been tracking the testimony. Jean.
Well, they're on cross-examination right now, but on direct examination, when she took the stand, it was very difficult for the plaintiff's attorney to actually get her to verbalize what had happened to her. It was like her mind was reliving it. But she did talk about that on that day, that the teacher that was next door to her at the school, also with the first grade class, came to her and said that two of her students had seen that one of her students had a gun in his backpack. And so the teacher said, I'm going to go down and tell the vice principal, you just stay with your class, but keep your eye on him. So that's what she did. And then they had research, and she, you have over 20 students in your class right here. She kept watching him, observing him. She didn't realize that other teachers were asking the vice principal, who is the defendant, by the way, her name is Ebony Parker, to do something, because she was in charge of crisis management at the school. That's what she was trained for as the vice principal, as the administrator. She was to handle something like this. So, as you see, Abby kept teaching her class, believing that word was getting to the vice principal and the vice principal would do something. Well, nothing was done. And finally, she testified that she saw that gun and she was shot. She went black. She thought she was dying. She said she saw black. She really believed she was going to heaven, but then she suddenly felt and saw people around her trying to help her. And these were school teachers. They were trying to stop the bleeding because paramedics hadn't arrived. And she realized that she was alive. Now, on cross-examination, the focus is really to place a responsibility on Abby. Why didn't Abby go down to the vice principal? Why didn't Abby go to the child and ask the child, do you have a gun on you? So they're really blaming the victim in a sense, but this is, she's trying to defend Ebony Parker, trying to defend in this litigation. And so how will that fare with the jury? Because she's definitely emotionally disturbed from this. You see it in her eyes and the soul of her eyes. But the defense continues to bring out also she went to a Taylor Swift concert. She wrote to Taylor Swift. That's coming out as part of the defense, saying you're really not injured. You don't have all those emotions because you're attending a concert. Her sister had gotten those tickets for them to try to help her.
Yeah, I mean, so much to unpack there, not the least of which, the most important of which is that a 6-year-old had a gun.
Yeah.
At all, never mind in school, and never mind shot his teacher. All right.